Do you remember what it was like to be small and still believe that anything is possible? Well, if you're having trouble, come back with me to kindergarten, probably sitting Indian style on the rug, surrounding your teacher, and they look down at you and they say, to each and every one of us, you can be whatever you want to be when you grow up. What do you want to be? I remember thinking, wow, I can be whatever I want to be when I grow up. I mean, that opened up so many doors that I had thought were closed, that I didn't even know how I was going to choose just one or two things that I would be when I grow up. But I didn't doubt Mrs. Harris, because she was tall and I was small. She was smart and I was just starting to learn. I mean, this is my first year of school. Plus, she was really nice and she gave us lots of snacks, and I thought for sure I could trust this lady. So I began to imagine myself as a scientist who created a cure for some incurable disease, and all of the praise and accolades I would get for that and how thankful people would be. Then I imagined being an artist, a musical artist, and selling out concerts and making people happy with my music. And then my favorite thought was me as the president, because at least in the mind of a 5-year-old, when you're the president, you get to make up all the rules, and you only have to follow the rules that you want to follow, and everybody else has to follow the rules that you made up. So I thought for sure everyone was going to want to be the president, and that it would probably be a fight over who would actually get the job. So, now, do you remember how it felt to imagine and dream? Do you remember how you answered the questions? Well, if not, you can probably imagine right now 2 or 3 things that you'd like to do when you are grown up. And the reason for that is because this exercise taught us how to use our imaginations, and it taught us that we can be more than what we are. At the time, we were small, but we would grow. At the time, we didn't know a lot, but we knew we would learn. And we may have believed everything that people with candy told us, but eventually we would gain discernment. So, not long after you've latched onto your dream, reality starts to set in. And we have to try to fight it off, because I know people were quick to point out to me that a woman had never been the president of the United States, and that because of their emotions, they were probably too weak for the job. And I had to fight back with, as if men don't have emotions. Have you ever seen a man after his favorite team loses? I don't think I need to say anything else. Maybe you had a similar experience where you heard things like girls aren't good at math and science, or they're not supposed to play with Legos and build things. Or maybe you heard that boys aren't supposed to play with clothes and that they shouldn't be dancing. Maybe it was a flat out, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, and there's nothing special about you that's going to help you live your dream. A great example of how quickly reality can set in is when I asked my son this question. I said, "Son, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And he didn't think about it too long. He was pretty decisive. He said, "I want to be a scientist, I want to be a policeman, and I want to be an actor." And even though those things were really unrelated to one another, I thought, wow, this kid is making me proud. I'm like, good job, son. You can do whatever you want to do when you grow up. And just as quickly as I said those words, the light kind of drained from his eyes, and his little shoulders started to sag, and he said, "But I don't think I can do it all." And seeing his little dream dying before my eyes, I was like, oh no, I've got to do something. I've got to rescue this situation. He has to know that his dreams are worth going after. And so I tell him, "No, son, you can do it. You really can do whatever you want." And he looks at me and he says, "But Mom, there are only so many hours in a day. If I have to go make potions and then I have to go make a movie, and then I have to come home and put on my police suit and go fight crime, I'm not going to have any time for my family. I mean, I have to sleep. So, once I realized that I had overreacted to the situation and that it wasn't a lack of confidence that was keeping him from believing in his dreams, I was able to stop and think of a solution. And I said, son, you know, you could play a cop on TV who uses science to defeat bad guys. And he was like, not bad, Mom. I could do that. And just like that, his dream was reignited, and I was feeling in that moment like a successful mom. And I feel like all the signs are there that we all could use a fresh perspective to keep us pursuing our dreams. That America needs a fresh perspective to keep the American dream alive. Today's youth are going to school, and they're not just learning what to do in case of an earthquake or a fire. They're learning what to do in case somebody comes to school with guns trying to shoot them. Not only that, but children are taking their own lives in ever-increasing numbers, and they're way more at risk of going to prison after high school than to going to college. I want children to be encouraged to dream without giving up, and as they grow, I want their dreams to grow. We all need to remember the lesson we learned when we were small, which is that we can be more than what we are. And the way to be more than what we are, the key on how to do this, is our imaginations. That means that everyone has the power to change the world, because everyone has the ability to use their imagination. Imagine the world the way you want it to be. Then all you have to do is do what you can. You can find other people whose dream matches yours, or you can go alone. Any little bit makes a difference in the long run. Do what you can, and eventually, when you look back, you'll see how much we've grown.